Hey guys, and welcome to another edition of Burton Ballers. And we finally got our man. Lukaku is a blue. Well, almost. 48 hours and counting. So, if we've got multiple reports saying that Chelsea are going to be submitting another bid for Romelu Lukaku in the region of, depending on what reports you read, but it's in the region of either 93 million or up to 110 million. So it's somewhere in between, around about the 100 million mark anyway. And this is likely to be accepted by Inter Milan. Chelsea want this deal completed within the next 48 hours. Reason being so that he can play in the Super Cup, which is next Wednesday. And if he does come back in time for that Super Cup, it'll be a good symmetry actually, because he left in, I think it was 2013 when he missed that penalty against Bayern Munich, and that's when Jose decided to part ways with him. So he'll be coming back with unfinished business, as he says, to the club. He's coming back to the club a more rounded player. I know a lot of people are disappointed because of the fact that we didn't get Haaland, and they prefer to get Haaland. But I keep saying Dortmund are not budging on Haaland. So the fact that they're not budging on Haaland, Lukaku is the next best option. I've heard nonsense about panic buy. It's not a panic buy. Chelsea have had 3 strikers on their radar. They've had Haaland was the number 1 choice. I think Lukaku was the second. And if they couldn't get one of those 2, they'd have tried for Harry Kane, knowing that that would have been a more difficult deal to pull through because of the Levy and Tottenham situation. But they'd have still attempted to get Harry Kane. So I'm hearing things like his hold-up play is not up to scratch. Really? He cannot link up the play. He cannot create chances for others. He's just a goal poacher. And he's not a big match player. I'll show you some clips there just to debunk the myth of what people are saying. And the one about the big match player, so you don't get bigger in Italy than a Milan derby. And this Milan derby carried more weight because at the time AC Milan were still in with a shout of winning the Serie A. AC Milan were actually leading the table for quite a long time, so they played in a big important match, Inter versus AC, whereas at AC won, they'd have stayed in contention for Serie A. Lukaku ran the show. You know, he assisted the first for Lautaro Martinez, and he scored a brilliant solo 3rd goal to seal the match. So, this is a guy who can play in the big matches. A lot of people are looking at his first spell at Chelsea and his spell at Manchester United and using that as evidence to say that this guy is average or, not a top draw striker. But you know what? Lukaku has gone away. He's worked on his game. He's got fitter. He's got trimmer. Plaudits to our former manager as well, Antonio Conte, because Antonio Conte has a lot to do with his development. And the Lukaku Mark II that we're getting is a more rounded Lukaku, a stronger Lukaku, a world-class Lukaku. I know some may not agree with me, but that's what I'm saying, okay? So if you look at Chelsea's issues last season, especially under Tuchel, right? Expected goals. Expected goals are the goals that you should be scoring from the chances that you created. And Chelsea are bottom of the league for expected goals. So that's where the problem is. We create chances. We've got no issues on creating chances. Our issue is in putting the chances into the back of the net. Sorry, I've got a lot of wind issues going on here. And so what we're seeing is if a striker who can put the ball into the back of the net on a consistent level. If you have one of those at Chelsea, then that is the missing piece of the jigsaw. And Lukaku ticks all those boxes. And Lukaku is, since moving to Everton, that's when he obviously became a more rounded player, and he's a more experienced. He has failed to score 20 goals in a season on only one occasion. And that season came under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. And if you dissect that even further, you will see that the reason was because he was being played out of position a lot. He wasn't always in the starting lineup, so a lot of those games were off the bench for him, and he just didn't have the right chemistry with the rest of the Man U's players. You know, that was a bit of an haphazard season under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer anyway. So apart from that season, then his goal scoring is exceptional. And if we're comparing him at this time to what Chelsea players have produced, only the Eden Hazard a couple of seasons ago has outscored him. Only Eden Hazard has outscored him in goal output. So he is better than anyone that we already have in this current setup at Chelsea. So this guy, you know, take all your bias away. Take what you've seen from him from previous spells that he's had at this club, or even that disastrous, I wouldn't say disastrous spell at Manchester United, that last season when things didn't go for him. Put all that aside, just look at his career in its entirety, and you'll see that you've got a world-class striker. You know, the only people who can't look at it logically are those who maybe have an agenda or a bias, and who don't want to sort of look at the big picture when it comes to this guy. I've seen people say, you know, okay, they don't want him, but they will support him at the club, which is fair enough, you know. So obviously you want your club to do well, but I've seen others say, oh, I'm going to start the agenda now to get him out of the club. So, and no matter how he performs, they're still not going to be happy with him. Those sort of people are, I call them so-called supporters, because anyone who's just going to try and disrupt or try and start some sort of agenda before this guy's even put on a shirt, you know, they're not fans of Chelsea as far as I'm concerned. You know, it's just ridiculous, and you know, I've got no time for those sort of people. What camp are you in? Just stick your comments in the section below. Are you a pro Lukaku? Do you think he's going to be a success, or do you think he's going to be a failure? You know, I keep saying I don't know what the future holds. You know, I haven't got a crystal ball. I hope it works out, and I have every confidence that he will do well at Chelsea. So, you know, let's put this disappointment aside over Erling Haaland, and let's get on to this Lukaku train, because this train ain't going away. He's going to be ours on a 5-year contract. So we've got to stick by him. We've got to support him. Until then, guys, don't forget, like, subscribe, turn on all post notifications to be notified every time we make a new video. Until then, I'll see you guys, and take care.